Here's a little secret about our show. We're never quite certain when the theme music is on or off. But I think we potted down successfully. It's really just a matter of swapping one wire to get this right, but we never do it. Good evening, Internet! You are watching the Non-Pro TV Party, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recap show. I'm your host, Frank, joined out in studio by Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Frank. How you doing?
Pretty good. James might be joining us at some point. You could tell by him being a different person in the room. I can't tell because I am too busy reading a script. On Non-Pro's TV Party, we do a live and poorly produced YouTube series where we geek out about our favorite television shows and invite you all to join along. We're not just recapping TV, we're still doing it. This episode will be focusing entirely on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the only show that Matt watches other than Raw and Mr. Robot, which is over for a season, right?
Yeah, it's just finished, I think.
So good. Such a good show.
Oh, so good. We need to do a special on that.
We really do need to we discuss that because I feel like we can't really talk about it on this show because, you know, people will be blindsided if they're planning on binging it later on. But oh my God, such a good show. Good show. 2 solid, awesome seasons. So happy that Rami won the
yes, that was fantastic.
Best actor. Really cool. But speaking of the show that we're speaking of, why are people criticizing us already? If you'd like to criticize us, leave a comment on this YouTube video as it's streaming, we hope. We're talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is its 4th season, 2nd episode. This season is called, for lack of a better, I don't really know if it's titled this, but it's the Ghost Rider season. Yep. Oh, good. James needs a personalized invite to the Hangout. I just said the what. Yeah, so Ghost Rider. This is pretty exciting. We already talked about it in the first episode of this. I'm pointing probably not where the playlist is, but maybe where YouTube's playlist is, where the last episode was. We're guessing. We already talked about it. Ghost Rider up front and center first episode. Very exciting for me as a geek who's often used to, hi, James, used to being taunted by this kind of thing. And this episode, in Meet the New Boss, we actually get to meet the new boss, a director who's nothing like the old boss. Matt, what did you feel when you got to the reveal? You know, there's no spoiler alerts on this show. We're just gonna discuss our feelings and then maybe hopefully analyze the show, so we're not just a bunch of geeks talking about our feelings.
I kind of talked about this last week, but like I saw who the actor was who was going to be the director, but I had no idea what role he was going to play. And I was going to say that role kind of like took me by surprise, both in the fact that like who he's supposed to be, supposedly it wasn't confirmed, but it's pretty much assumed, but also like kind of like what he is in this case, being an actual inhuman director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
that took me completely by surprise. So like even though I kind of knew who the actor was for the director, like his role and what his deal with was a very nice surprise.
Yeah, my fan theory of it being Patton Oswalt was
that still would have been great.
It would have been great. I think it would have been fun. I'm not saying it would have, like, I'm sure they have a good plan for the season, and it's probably not going to devolve into just a basic our S.H.I.E.L.D. faction versus S.H.I.E.L.D. as a whole, because we've gotten like 3 seasons of that.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot.
So hopefully, but yeah. So it wasn't this, but a human character, one who fans are predicting is a certain character readers might be familiar with. And Matt, I'd like you to spoil that for us because, again, why not? It's just a theory.
I forget his name, but I think he's supposed to be the Patriot.
Oh, so I don't remember anything he was in. I think he's often like a stand-in for Captain America. when Captain America's like frozen in ice or a Nazi or something. Like he's one of those people who's super inspired by Captain America. I don't know much about him.
Right.
What was it?
Jeffrey Mace. I think that's who he. That's the director's name, and
All
I
right.
think I just saw. Yeah, I think I just saw a confirmation here that for like the TV subtitles, one of the lines is Jeffrey Mace off screen, so that might be a confirmation of that's
Oh,
who he is.
that's neat.
If this guy is right, like he said, he was like reading the subtitles, and that's what came up.
Man, you nerds are really into this. So the Patriot is who we might be getting, and
Can I just say,
please say something, James, because I was about to go on a tangent about Mel Gibson.
oh, good. Good. I'll stop you there. Can
2008,
I
The
just
Patriot,
say,
in case any of you were wondering at home. 2000's The Patriot, also starring Heath Ledger as the Joker, not as the Joker, as another character.
I think the best part of this reveal, at least to me, was I'm sitting alone in my hotel room watching this, and we find out he's an Inhuman, and I'm like, oh man, I bet this was Coulson's idea. I said it out loud to myself. I'm like, this just seems like I knew where this was going. I immediately knew Coulson wanted to get out of the spotlight. He wanted to bring S.H.I.E.L.D. back into the fold. He wants to promote Inhumans in a good way. What better than to show that a big leader of a big organization doing the right thing is an Inhuman as someone who can be trusted. And then I was so excited later on in the episode when he's like, well, this was your idea, Phil. I'm like, yes, I knew it. I knew it.
The loneliest thing about this was you being in a hotel room for undisclosed reasons. And I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Work.
Nope, don't want to know. So here's something I want us to talk about. Is this Inhuman affirmative action? I think it could be. I think this could be Inhumans affirmative action, that we're trying to get a minority population who is underrepresented in government. This sounds really stupid, except when you think that, fiction like this, genre fiction, it's supposed to hold a mirror up to society and allow us to tell certain kinds of stories. I'm not sure if this is going to be an affirmative action story, but I'm sure that when James said, I bet this is Coulson's idea, I immediately imagined like a conservative person finding out about somebody who's in government now and be going, but this is a libtard's idea. Like, I felt it. I felt James is a racist, is what I'm saying. James, are you a racist?
I'm definitely Inhumanist.
Wait a minute.
What?
Anti-Inhuman.
Right.
I thought you meant the humans are superior.
No, what? No.
I don't know. Either way you dice this is not good luck, James. You could have just said, no, I'm not a racist.
No.
It feels like you're a little late to the party now. I don't know. Didn't your wife come out strongly against pro-genocide in the Battlestar Galactica debate?
She definitely came strongly for killing the Cylons at the point in time in which
understood.
The point in time in which Hilo saves them.
Carolins are just across the board voting Trump for
Trump for S.H.I.E.L.D.
You're a monster and you should feel bad.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean Trump. I meant a fictional character that we can use as an allegory, because people get really pissy when you talk about real politics. So you use fiction like this. I'm not pointing at the camera like I want to be, to tell these stories. I hope that this is what we're getting. Because again, bureaucracy is evil is a story we've seen a lot in on S.H.I.E.L.D. I would like to see a different side of evil. I'm wondering where the tension and the conflict is in this season. What do you think, either of you?
I was going to say, I also think it's difficult to having him be an Inhuman, specifically when we kind of already did there are some good Inhumans and there are some bad Inhumans, and we've had these S.H.I.E.L.D. factions fighting each other. Like, I just don't want us to retread ground, right?
Yeah, like you just did with your comment when I just said the same thing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly, like that.
Matt, please decide which one of us is better. Or you could just comment on what you think the conflict of this season might be.
I mean, beyond... I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like they're going to have to tie in Ghost Rider to this eventually.
Oh, wow. You know what we all did?
What's that?
We all we were so excited about the Inhuman director of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we forgot the plot of this episode was actually probably mostly the conflict in the series. That's interesting, right? It was all about Roxxon and its various. Was it Roxxon? I can't remember if they
was it implied to be Roxxon? Yeah, I think it was said they said it Roxxon.
I think maybe there was. I'll admit, I'm also finally watching season 2 of Daredevil, so I'm getting my references mixed up. But there's an organization that's going out. I think it was Roxxon, trying to do some sort of clean energy thing or whatever. And then there are ghosts that are generated by this process, as happens, because they're from Deadlands. That's a deep cut for you RPG folks out there. Deep cuts. Wild West role-playing game. Ghost Rock was a fuel. Made Ghost. All right. It's going to fly really well for that crowd. Just trust me. Deadlands Pinnacle fans are going nuts right now. They are hitting the like button and subscribing multiple times. Only that makes them unsubscribe. So please, an odd number of hits. Anyways, what was I saying?
You were talking about
Ghosts.
the mystical element of the series, which we think is obviously the focus with Ghost Rider and our ghosty friends. Right? They're ghosts, right?
They're
They're
pretty much
like-
assumed to be ghosts at this point.
They're energy ghosts. Matt and I still hold out a candle that it is somehow a tie-in to that season 1 episode that only we remember.
That weird random episode with the phasing guy.
Yeah,
That guy was cool.
He's never gonna come back again. He's just screwed.
So
But yeah, like we got a bunch of scientists. We know it has something to do with Robbie Reyes' backstory. Ghost Rider thinks he's involved in the creation of what's going on and why all these gangs, these anti-human watchdogs, everybody seems to be tied in to this horrible act. So that's probably going to be the meat of what our plot is. James?
So here's why we skipped, or at least I know why I skipped all the way to the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I am having a hard time finding these ghosts interesting. To me, they feel kind of like, almost like a Doctor Who villain. Like they're just so very, I don't want to say out there, instantly relatable, so they're not relatable. Like clearly not the villains. There's something about them, and it's very Doctor Who-ish, and I don't know. I don't like it, particularly with the hard politics going on with the S.H.I.E.L.D. section, and then I'd call it fairly dark stuff we have going on with Ghost Rider, now that we've moved to 10 o'clock, and as much as I want to see this mystical sort ofness tied in, this group of ghosts is this middle link. I don't know. Past 2 episodes, I haven't loved it.
I think for me, like I'll definitely agree with you. Like I'm loving like the hard politics stuff, like the bureaucracy, the spy stuff. That S.H.I.E.L.D's always good with that. I'm loving the conflict between Ghost Rider and Quake. I love Daisy and Robbie's interactions. I love their parts in the show. But those ghosts are just kind of there. They're kind of like C-Team, like just there to be a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really invested in them as some kind of overarching threat. They're not like Ward or like Jiang in the rogue factions of Inhumans. There's no reason to either feel either sympathy or understanding or even be scared. They cause people to go kind of crazy when they phase through people.
They give them Snapchat filters.
Yeah, give them evil Snapchat filters.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah,
I have a theory on this. And I want maybe James's confirmation for the closest to a filmmaker we have on the panel right now. If you want to be on this panel, just leave a comment on this video and let us know. We'll vet you the way the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. was vetted because, hey, you're cool. So, okay, this is my theory. I feel like, I agree. First of all, the pluses, or maybe a wish first. I don't want to see any of the evil bureaucracy in S.H.I.E.L.D. thing. I think the bureaucracy that the director's putting in right now is reasonable. I think that's the way a spy organization probably should work. And I see that they're chafing against it. I hope it just remains chafing and causes tension that way, but never the I'm a rogue loose cannon. Now you can't control me. I don't want that. That's just stupid. I'm done with that.
Before.
Yeah,
we've done it before, and it was never really good in the first place. That's why I was never quite happy with that, as S.H.I.E.L.D. is, an organization of 7 people. I get why they did it after Winter Soldier. It made sense to an extent, but then I don't want to see that anymore. It's boring. I like that we have real bureaucracy. It was one of the reasons why I wanted Patton Oswalt's character to be director, because it was like, okay, I could trust that he has legitimate reasons for, you know, having color-coded badges. So that's the wish. Good thing, I will say, I like the way the ensemble cast is all active, but they're not necessarily in every scene together. I think they balanced that pretty well. I think that's a testament to how much we care about the characters now, that they could be independent of one another, and we could still kind of follow that. Your mileage may vary. And it's specifically Robbie and Daisy. I would say the last episode, there was a lot of, like, what you call dark, I think, James. There was a lot of tension. Like, I legitimately felt like if Robbie tries to kill her, that is a reasonable thing he's going to try. If she keeps pushing him, he might end up just saying, I'm going to have to cut my losses and kill this person. When he was looking for reasons to find her guilty to kill her, that was like real tension, as opposed to just being like monster of the week tension, where I'm not really that worried about the fate of the characters. So those are the good parts. My theory is this. The ghosts are not that interesting. I think Doctor Who villain is a great way of describing them, and I think the reason why, it's like they've instantly become humanized. So typically in Doctor Who, if you run into a ghost or a vampire or something, first commercial break, you're like, what the hell is this thing? And then by the next reveal, you're like, oh, it's an alien that lost its home. Oh, it's the psychic projection of people from the past. Like, it becomes, the creep factor gets thrown out. The mysticism gets thrown out. It's just like a science explanation. I think there's like science heroes, which is, superheroes.
Yeah, and it works well in Doctor Who because those things only stick around for an episode. So, after you're 30 minutes through...
I'm not prepared to say it's not working here, because I don't really think we're supposed to like be afraid of them or care for them, really. I mean, I had a lot to talk about this episode, and it was about the director and what's going on with our cast. I don't think they're going to do themselves any favor by introducing like a lot of really interesting villains. And I know for a fact there are people who don't like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. who would be yelling at me right now. Like, interesting villains is the whole point of comics. And I get it, but there's like a lot of tension going on that, like, Robbie Reyes is the one I'm interested in. New director is who I'm interested in. Their monster of the week, I'm prepared to being a monster of the week, and it's just being a thread from one episode to the other. The reason I said I wanted to ask your opinion, James, is I also think a decent amount of this, not only is the reveal that they're human and they have human opinions and attitudes and whininess, but also because I think there's something about the way the ghosts are shot. Whereas, like, in the first episode, before we realized that there were energy ghosts, they just kind of looked lame. And I was much more worried about the psychosis going through our main characters' heads, like May, than I was about the ghosts themselves that were causing the psychosis.
I agree with you. I haven't figured out exactly how they're doing those characters, but it's like in stark contrast to, like, say, the effects they're using on Ghost Rider.
Maybe they're on a budget.
Yeah, I thought to myself, I looked at these characters and I'm like, it kind of feels like they just filmed these characters in front of a green screen with some makeup on, and then they threw them into scenes and keyed them out a little bit. Like really, like, not super, just like not a lot of effort into that. You know what I mean? And a lot of the pieces, a lot of the set pieces have already started to feel smaller for the show. You'll notice they've been doing stuff. They've been keeping off the streets for the most part.
We're in the bunker season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was actually several scenes in a bunker. Yes.
Yep. Into smaller, keeping it into smaller rooms, things like that, which is generally notorious for small budget shows. You get a small sound stage, you film within it, you keep outside and location filming to a minimum.
We are actually broadcasting this from 3 separate bunkers, so that tells you a lot.
We have no budget.
Yeah. What's going on over here? This thing right here. I'm wondering. Leave us comments. Yeah. All right. Cool. Anything else that people want to talk about this particular episode?
Yeah.
I
feel like there was something else I wanted to add.
I am excited. I do. I really hope there is. I mean, that one scene when the director's fighting with May, and he's just like taking the punches. But like, that's my ideal strong guy character. The
I-
strong guy stereotype, the one who just keeps getting hit and whatever. Like, if you're gonna have that archetype in your story, my ideal is the one who's actually kind of gentle about it. Because why not? It's just not gonna really hurt him. He's just gonna let you tire yourself out. Just stop. Because when you think about if you've ever had to deal with like a toddler who's having a tantrum, most people just let them like have their little tantrum. They don't like, I pick you up and throw you or throw a boulder at you. You don't do that, do you, James? James?
No, I don't.
I'm sorry, were you raising your hand, James?
Well, the thing I'm excited about is the thing that doesn't seem to have any connection to the other things, but I definitely think we're witnessing the creation of the life model decoy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I am thrilled. Like, I was even surprised when the Doctor like walked in to like hang out with Fitz. I'm like, what? We get this guy? Yes! Even though there's like no logical reason why they would pardon him of all his crimes and just be like, you know, yeah, that's fine. Even though, no, look, come on. This guy, when he's introduced, he's totally introduced as like some bad dude who's doing like really crazy illegal experiments in the underworld. And then he gets illegal. Like,
they're immoral.
Brought in with evil, you know, alien ward. All right, fine. Immoral. Anyway, the point is, life model decoys, Marvel Cinematic Universe. I am so down. Super excited about that.
Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. One interesting actually point with the ghosts that they name dropped something. I forget the name of it, but they name dropped some either book or scripture or something.
Oh yeah,
that's very well known amongst like occult and like horror fans. I know like some like reactions I've followed. I forget the name of it. I want to say I forget the name of it. But
we're
like,
gonna say it's the Necronomicon. There's gonna be a crossover with
Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
It wasn't a Necronomicon, but it was something like that. And like a lot of people were like freaking out that they actually like name dropped that in the show. So maybe we're gonna get something more with the ghosts, or maybe this is eventually gonna lead into our Doctor Strange tie-in.
Darkhold, aka
Dark
Book of Sins.
That does sound familiar. It might be that, but
all right.
That's interesting. That was pretty neat that they're really actually bringing in some supernatural stuff.
All right. Oh yeah, it is. It's dark. Oh, okay. So it's from the Midnight, or at least it was featured probably maybe originally in the Midnight Suns. I know Midnight Suns. I don't remember Darkhold specifically, but Midnight Suns was like a plot line, like a comic book mini series collection of books for in the early 90s in Marvel. It had Ghost Rider in it. I feel like it had other scary ghost character the horror characters from Marvel at the time, although I can't for the life of me remember anyone but Ghost Rider. Maybe Morbius was in it, sure, a vampire guy. I can't quite remember. But yeah, it's a book from there. So if that's something, I mean, that's cool. It's tying it even more into the Ghost Rider story. I mean, clearly Ghost Rider is tied into the ghost scientist because he said so. What I'm almost more interested in is to see how much this will tie into Doctor Strange, or in which way will this tie into Doctor Strange. If there's a Werewolf by Night walk-on appearance, I'm happy. I'm just saying, Werewolf by Night kind of comes in, gives a thumbs up to the camera, winks. I'm good. Shut up, I'm good.
Well, we'll definitely have an opportunity to see Doctor Strange tie-ins because S.H.I.E.L.D. will be on in November when the movie premieres. So I'm excited.
That's neat. All right. Yeah, I think that wraps it up for this week. I don't know what our next episode is going to be. I guess I could look it up. Like it's a good.
This coming week. Oh, it's the following week.
Yeah, that's something. So we're having a skip week on the third episode.
Look, vice presidential election debate.
I guess.
I'm going to tell you, we're probably looking at S.H.I.E.L.D.'s last season, unless I invited to place bets now. you know, unless something amazing happens or the ratings really pick up here at 10 o'clock, it's just, it's done a lot, but Marvel's television is having more success on Netflix and in the movies. And they canceled Agent Carter and passed on a spinoff. ABC, the network, probably has less interest in the show than, you know, they're
so now we know that James is a racist and also a naysayer. So tune in next week to find out what else we learn about James the jackass. Next episode will be Uprising. It's on October 11th. Hey, you know what? They're off this week because of Comic-Con, which is coming up next weekend, I believe. I don't really know because I have to enter a raffle to know exactly what weekend Comic-Con is on. We'll see. No, it's so give yourself some time to catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and more importantly, give yourself some time to catch up on this wonderful YouTube series. Subscribe to our channel, like and comment, do all those other things. And hey, stay safe out there. Hill Street Blues, the next show we're going to be covering on TV Party. Hill Street Blues! Steve-O! He's not in Hill Street Blues, I checked.
It's not.
No. Gravity Falls is a good show. We could do that. Or Mr. Robot. Remember when we talked about Mr. Robot before James got here, Matt? And it was amazing. We connected over that.
Mr. Robot.
Yeah. Well, what was that, James? You like Mr. Robot?
I said I love Mr. Robot.
Really? Do you know that a non-white actor won for Best Actor?
Yes, I know that.
Okay with that? I don't think he's Inhuman, though.
Best Actor at the Emmys.
He may not be an Inhuman. We haven't checked.
Well deserved.
We haven't implemented your test to check to see if all actors are Inhuman. Remember when you asked for that earlier today?
No.
This is the new sign, the new vision of TV Party. A lot more yelling and incoherence, but some salient points in between. All right, subscribe, please, because otherwise we can't feed our bambinos.
Subscribe, like, do all that jazz.
Right. All right. Good night, everybody.